fix to start kicking ass, just like it said at the beginning of the program.
Man of the hour, tower of talent, too sweet to be sour.
Sending your ass on the jabroni jet to the other side of the territory, brother.
The Alabama Hammer.
Nightmares are the best part of my day.
The goods from the wood.
Hot damn.
Welcome to the Goods from the Woods. My name is Rivers Langley.
My name's Pat Riley.
This is a good man of the hour, tower of power, too sweet to be sour.
And today we are so thrilled to be joined by a legend of Los Angeles radio and one of my favorite people to see around. I met. Say your name first of all.
Steve Chiotakis.
Steve Chiotakis is here, and I met you obviously driving around Los Angeles, listening to NPR as I do. You'll hear Steve's voice every afternoon, but I actually met you at a comedy show in Wes Van Horn and Joe Rain's backyard, in which I was frying chicken and there was a peacock walking around. And I was just tickled pink. I was like, oh my God, Steve Chiotakis is just watching this. And
you were a roommate, right, of Monica.
Monica Scott.
Right, and she worked at KCRW, and she said,
right.
oh my God, my roommate is Rivers, and he's from Alabama. Do you know him? Do you know him? Yeah, there are 5 million people in Alabama, but somehow I know who Rivers is.
Right.
So so I was, after laughing at that, then she was like, but he does a comedy thing called Yellowhammered, and I was like, Yellowhammered? I was like, that's the state bird. I was like, oh man,
that's a reference for almost no one in LA.
Nobody would no, and the only thing that we know about LA is that it's lower Alabama, not Los Angeles.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I mentioned, I was like, oh yeah, if you'd ever like to do the podcast, and you're like, oh sure. And I've been thinking for years of like a great thing to talk about.
Yeah.
And we've referenced this incident a couple of times, but I really want to go into it, which is the Balloon Boy hoax of 2009.
From Colorado.
Yeah. The more I've researched this incident, the more I'm like, this was some sort of turning point in media.
Do you think it was a sharp jumping moment?
It's when the news jumped the shark.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
I wouldn't say that's when the news jumped.
I didn't even watch it. I don't even know what the hell it is.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I thought the news jumped the shark with the Tanya Harding thing. I think that was the point.
It was before that.
Yeah, I know. I mean, yeah.
The news jumped the shark when we didn't just have Walter Cronkite and the 3 networks anymore. When it became that 24-hour news, so they had to fill the time with a bunch of nothing.
Even before that, like Gary Hart. Maybe Gary Hart.
Gary Hart might have been
Rice.
Monkey Business.
Monkey Business. That's right. It was the name of the boat. Monkey Business.
What was Gary Hart?
He was a wrestling manager for Texas. I thought he was black when I was a kid.
I wish it was
Gary
Gary
Hart, by the way, ironically enough, a U.S. senator from Colorado.
Yeah. So this wasn't the Gary Hart that managed the great Kabuki.
No.
Walter Mondale, the great Kabuki. No,
Walter Mondale is all blown and no go.
What show did I just show up for? I don't even know. You didn't warn me about this.
But he was the sharp, good-looking senator from Colorado that was supposed to be the savior of the Democratic Party against Ronald Reagan in 1984, when Ronald Reagan was at a pretty weak point, right? And he was good-looking, he was sharp, he was progressive enough.
Wasn't it 1988, and he was supposed to be the candidate for the Democrats?
So here's what happened. In 84, he ran against Walter Mondale and lost in 84 in the primaries. But then he reemerged in 88.
Correct, yeah.
And he wanted to run again. And that's when Donna Rice happened.
That was the monkey business year.
That was the monkey business year.
It was supposed to be him and George Bush in that election, which would have been a fight. Right. But then he was gone, and it was Michael Dukakis.
It was Michael. Don't make fun of the Greek man, okay?
No, I'm telling you, he had no chance of winning.
I may be from Alabama, but I'm also Greek.
He had no chance of winning.
There are 14 Greeks in Alabama, and I'm one of them. So I used to be one of them.
For people that invented democracy, he wasn't too good at realizing whether he was going to win or not.
He's fine. He won 10 states.
There was a bumper sticker in his home state that had people laughing that said Dukakis for what?
No, it's fine. It's fine. He did fine. He did us proud as Greek men. So
yeah,
Anyway.
It was no Tellus Savalas.
Anyway, we've gone off the rails
Anyway,
now.
there was because as Blue Oyster Cult tells us, history repeats itself again and again. Godzilla, it was a good-looking Democratic official who got himself into, who was on trajectory to do big things. Got himself into
for doing what? For having a girl sit on his lap on a boat. Sounds like a good old time to me.
Here was Gary Hart's first mistake, is he challenged the media because he had been dogged by these questions about whether he was having extramarital affair with someone, and he kept saying no, and then he challenged the media to follow him. And never challenge the media to follow you.
That's a crazy thing.
So a pretty intrepid reporter from the Miami Herald followed him.
When asked about rumors of infidelity, he had answered, "Follow me around. I don't care. I'm serious. If anybody wants to put a tail on me, go ahead. They'd be very bored." With that statement giving them license, the media launched into full scandal mode.
I'm a proud man, and I'm proud of what I've accomplished.
And within a week, candidate Hart announced the inevitable.
I refuse to submit my family and my friends and innocent people and myself to further rumors and gossip. It's simply an intolerable situation.
This is all fuzzy right now. I thought I'd practice up on Balloon Boy.
Oh, no, we're getting to Balloon Boy.
But now we're on Gary Hart.
He wasn't on a boat, though, with the girl on his lap?
Yeah, there's a picture.
A picture
of the USS Monkey Business.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The USS, like it's a battleship.
It may have been. I just added the USS.
Yeah, no, I love that. Yeah.
Maybe it was an aircraft carrier. I don't know what
December
it was.
7th, 1941, Pearl Harbor lost the USS Arizona and the USS Monkey Business.
The Monkey Business Memorial.
There was a...
Oh my!
There was a rescue mission run by Vince McMahon's USS Sexy Bitch.
A date which will live in infamy.
Yeah, oh my goodness!
But Balloon Boy, man.
But yeah, so this incident happened in 2009, and the reason that made me think of it is like I watched almost all of this.
Oh, you were entranced.
It wasn't that I was. I mean, I guess yes, yeah. There's no other way to put it because in 2009, this would have been right after I graduated college, and so it happened in October of 2009, and I was kind of. Just in
college
that,
in 2009.
Well, I was in that like.
Excuse me, I gotta go change my diaper. Real fast. Oh my!
I know.
God.
I was doing comedy when this shit happened. I didn't have time to watch some jackass in a balloon.
Oh my God, what is that like? Oh man!
But I just graduated college and I was in that weird phase where like I was done with college. I was just like living in a random apartment delivering steaks.
You were here in L.A.
I know I was in Alabama.
You were what part of Alabama?
This was Auburn. Yeah,
Auburn.
so I'm from Auburn.
Lee County.
Lee County. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And
you can't tell by all the Auburn memorabilia everywhere around the roof.
I am a long time, like since age 0, Alabama fan, Crimson Tide. So to walk in this room,
so you must be in like a torture chamber.
No, it's like I need an exorcism here or something. So, but anyway,
a tigercism, please. But I remember coming home from work. Like I had worked the day shift that day, and I came home and just turned on CNN. And they broke into it was Obama was having a town hall about the healthcare bill and was doing the thing where he was going around and talking to people about the national healthcare system that he wanted to set up, which could be argued to be an extraordinarily important issue. And all of a sudden, CNN breaks in and starts covering a UFO-shaped balloon over the skies of Colorado that supposedly had a 6-year-old boy inside of it.
It got loose, right?
It got loose.
Thank you. It's fast approaching, seconds away from 3:30 on the East Coast, noon 30 on the West Coast, and 1:30 in the skies above Denver, Colorado, where one of the strangest things in the history of my television career is going down. And if you're sitting in your living room watching it, I'm sure you are just as bewildered and befuddled as all of the rest of us. This balloon, apparently made to track storms in Colorado by a storm chaser kind of guy in the Denver area. They're testing the thing. It's tethered to the ground, and little son, the 6-year-old, is wandering around, and somehow the 6-year-old ends up going through the door in the thing, and he's in there, according to authorities. I mean, I can't confirm that, but authorities tell us he is. His father says he's in there. And he went flying away with the balloon when it broke away from the tether. Now, we're working with Channel 4, the CBS station, and Channel 7, the ABC station, and our station, Fox Denver, KDVR. They all have choppers up, and we're all watching what is the strangest thing ever. a little boy just floating along, and the chopper's following along with it, and no way to get him down, and with the word that the thing could stay up there for hours or days.
Richard Allen Heaney is a central figure in this story.
Well, just to stop, does he go and throughout this entire thing as Richard Heaney or Richard Allen Heaney?
I'm just giving his full name, Richard Allen
like David
Heaney.
Allen Coe?
Yeah. Because anybody that goes by all three names
is a serial killer or a country musician.
Or there's always something a little bit uneasy.
No, he just goes by Richard Heaney, but Richard Allen Heaney Jr. was born September 10th, which is my dad's birthday, 1961 in Virginia. According to Richard, he moved with his mother and stepfather 13 times. Quote, all I have ever wanted since I was a small child was to live in one place, he said.
Which place was that?
A balloon?
Throughout his young life, he worked in sales and as a general contractor, and he designed board games that never went anywhere and wrote and illustrated a manual on, quote, offensive driving.
Offensive driving.
Offensive driving.
Not defensive driving. Offensive driving.
Yeah.
At some point, he married a woman named Patricia. I wasn't able to find any other details on that. Just at some point, he was married to a woman named Patricia.
Where did you get this, by the way? This is Wikipedia?
This is
Stalkerpedia?
Well, no, this is...
Is this his bio on the Jump the Shark news page? Is that what it is?
Your 15minutesarup.com. No, the quest for relevancy.edu. No, this is actually, and I'll put all of our...
I love, but hold on a second. I like the offensive driving manual. It seems like one of those things like he was watching like Montel or something like that, and they have those commercials where it's like, have you ever wanted to be an author?
Can you draw this turtle?
The artist. No, the with the turtle.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
remember.
the turtle and the
I
pirate.
remember
Yeah,
the turtle.
and pirate.
Aw.
But him just being like,
The pirate was tough to draw, man.
yeah, and him just being like,
God.
I got this idea that
Yeah.
is going to be a game changer. I'm going to get into every Cracker Barrel gift shop with my offensive driving manual.
Oh, this dude has so
It's going to be the new. It's going to be the new. It's,
Where would that manual be placed? Like between what, the canisters with the roosters on
Oh,
it?
it's-
or,
it's-
and
like
the soft peppermint.
and the
it's the new Roadkill cookbook. That's what it is.
It's next to the woolly. It's next to the Woolly Willy with the magnetic pin where you put the beard on.
Oh
it.
no, I love that one. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And
You
the-
had one of those, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
That was
Of
one of
course
those
you
like
did.
things they would give you when you're a kid and you're in the hospital for having your tonsils out.
It's like-
absolutely. It
it's
kept
like-
you quiet for a little
It was
while.
a consolation gift
it's-
for getting.
Yeah,
I blot out my
or a
mustaches by
consolation.
that thing.
But it's like the Roadkill cookbook was tore it up. How to shit in the woods tore it up.
So
Offensive
some people need a
driving.
book on that.
I'm just going to tell
gonna
you
be the new one.
I'm just going to tell you right now. Spoiler alert: this dude has so many inventions that
Yeah.
if we cannot possibly stop on the.
Well, he
defensive
invented
driving.
a story too, but do proceed.
Okay, so at some point, married a woman. And by the way, you're asking where I sourced all this. This is from USA Today, the Tampa Bay Times, a variety of newspapers, all of which I'll sort in the info. Just click on your iPod and you can see all my sources. So I couldn't figure out who the hell this Patricia is, but at some point he married and divorced a woman named Patricia before moving to Southern California in 1997 to pursue, and this will surprise no one, a career in stand-up comedy. So,
Has anybody ever seen him at a mic?
well, this was 97, so I bet
we have him outside. Actually, come on in, Richard.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know because it was 1997. So I would assume if you found somebody maybe like a Chris Hardwick or a Dana Gould or somebody
Vance Sanders.
Vance, fuck, we gotta ask Vance. Holy shit, if Vance Sanders knows Richard Heaney,
Should have done that ahead of time, Rivers.
God damn it, the one bit of research I didn't think about. So while he was in LA, he met a woman named Mayumi who had moved from her native Japan to play guitar in a hard rock band.
Yeah.
And they married each other after 3 months. On October 12th, 1997.
Naturally, that's what happens when you date somebody.
Yeah, when it's love, it's love.
Yeah, that's true.
And they immediately started both a family and an entertainment production business.
Oh.
And the family eventually grew to include 3 sons, Bradford, Ryo, and their youngest, Falcon.
The one who would eventually become famous.
What's his name? Val Kilmer?
Falcon.
Falcon. Who was born to fly. Born to fly.
Born to fly.
Literally born to fly.
Did he hatch from an egg or something?
Yeah, like Mork.
Well, Mirth was the one that hatched.
Oh yeah, Mirth when he gave birth to Jonathan Winters.
That was Jonathan Winters on Mork and Mindy.
Jonathan Winters was really funny, but that just made the show weird.
No, but that was brilliant. Those two together, Robin. Oh,
the best part of that show I thought was Pam Dauber.
Is Jonathan Winters still with us?
No,
he died a couple of years ago.
He died in 2013 or something like that. So this is where it gets very bizarre. So they moved to Colorado. They gave up, as many people do. It's just like, you know what? Stand-up comedy is just too hard. I'm going to go to Colorado and become an amateur storm chaser.
Oh, for tornadoes?
Yeah. So
there are not very many tornadoes in Colorado. I can think of other states.
You know what? The
Eastern Slope?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Really?
Like, the thing about Colorado that people don't know, and I didn't know, the first time I drove across the country, you're driving across I-70 and western Kansas. Driving across western Kansas is like driving through the middle of the ocean. Like, there is beyond nothing.
Yeah.
People always say that, like, the middle of nowhere. You don't know the middle of nowhere until you've seen Wheatfield, Kansas, which is the most literal city on earth.
I mean, these places like that are so desolate that their high school football teams actually play with 8 players as opposed to 11. I'm not making this up. This isn't like some sort of joke. Really? This is like for real, like in Oklahoma.
The special teams, the defense, the offense are all the same people.
Where is it lacking? What do they take away?
I don't know where they take it away. I guess they run it like arena, because I think arena football is 8, but it's like, there's they don't have enough students to field full football teams, so they basically created their own rules and do kind of an arena football thing where it's
tag team football. You tag out the kicker for the punter.
Instead of arena football, it's Wheatfield football.
But that's the thing about Colorado is like you drive across that.
It looks like Kansas.
It's just nothing. And then in my head, I just assume that as soon as you cross over the border of Kansas into Colorado, it just becomes a mountain.
Yeah.
It's like 2 hours before you get to Denver, and then it becomes a mountain.
Well, you were slowly rising in elevation.
You're slowly rising.
You're slowly going up into the what do they call it? The foothills, right?
The Rockies,
Well, there are the foothills, the eastern foothills that sort of flank the Rockies.
Yeah,
like Boulder is in the foothills, and then the Rockies.
And then the Rockies
Estes Park, Golden, those places.
Yeah, like ski
Wasn't Boulder where they lived on Mork from Ork?
Yes.
They lived in Boulder. Pam Dauber played a newscaster.
Oh, wow.
On television.
So she, in some fictional alternate reality, covered the Balloon Boy incident, maybe.
Perhaps. Yes, absolutely. You see, it all ties together.
It all ties together.
It really does.
But the point is, like, eastern Colorado, there's for sure big-ass tornadoes there. And
there are. You see, and I'm a weather geek.
Yeah.
So when I wanted to be a storm chaser, I wanted to be a meteorologist, actually.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I did for the longest time. Because when you grow up in Alabama, I interned. Do you remember James Spann?
Oh, yes.
Do you know that name?
Of course.
Well, you were in Auburn. I was in Birmingham.
Well, James Spann is a famous Birmingham meteorologist and climate change denier, so he's great.
I don't want to get into the politics of any of that because he and I disagree, on things like that. But he is a marvelous meteorologist. When it comes to forecasting the weather, and especially severe weather, he's very good at what he does.
Right.
And so for the longest time, I interned with him at Channel 6.
No kidding. Wow.
Have you met any amateur storm chasers?
I have, actually.
They're insane.
They are. A lot of them are ham radio operators as well.
Yeah.
They are insane, and they have all kinds of gadgetry in their automobiles and trucks.
Yeah.
And they chase, and it's a dangerous craft. It is,
God, yeah.
and only the most trained people should do that.
Yeah.
Because if you don't know how to handle a tornado can go anywhere, obviously, but you got to know from where to look at the tornado, and a lot of times it's the southwest flank, like behind it, so it doesn't come toward you.
You have to know, like, wind patterns.
But then a lot of it is rain wrapped.
That's a handy tip if anybody's listening.
Yeah, if you're
and there's a tornado happening.
If you're listening to the podcast and you're
southwest
chasing a tornado, first
typically just the way the winds move across North America, you want to go to the southwest flank of a tornado. just so you know. Anyway,
so like I said, they moved to Colorado where Richard got into storm chasing and amateur meteorology, even at one point teaming up with a former television weatherman, shooting rockets into nimbus clouds to measure the electromagnetic fields in storms.
That sounds like fun.
It does sound like fun.
It really does.
Richard Heaney even published his findings about electromagnetic fields in the National Weather Digest, a publication of the National Weather Association.
So he's published.
He's published.
So he's
one of the many NWAs.
He did.
Yeah.
That's on his IMDb page, right?
Yeah.
It should be.
But here's where it gets fucked up. And to your point, you were saying, like, you should have some training if you're going to attempt to do this.
Right.
The whole family would tag along to chase storms. Him, his
With
wife,
the kids?
the 3 kids, the whole family was there.
That's not a good idea.
Chasing the storms. And
Well, there's an old saying, the family that chases storms together gets blown up in the air together,
gets
too.
blown apart like a fucking wood cabin. The whole family would chase the storms with Richard hopping on a motorcycle to race towards the tornado.
I hope from the southwest flank.
Yeah, to record scientific measurements. And the Heenies shared their stories widely, and I had forgotten that they did this, including a CNN iReport chronicling the aftermath of Hurricane Gustav in 2008. So do you remember like that? Where
Gustav.
It was yesterday, Gustav.
No, not Gustav, but CNN when they were at the kind of dawn of like social media, or like 2 years in.
I do remember their what was it, iReport or whatever? Yeah,
where they were like,
that. Yeah.
"Hey, we don't want to do work anymore. You just tell us what's going on."
Yeah, you send us the video exactly.
Yeah. So he apparently did a lot of those, and even like drove down to the affected areas of this hurricane.
So his video published as well.
Yeah.
And amateur hurricane chasers are actually a real special kind of
you don't
insane.
typically chase hurricanes. Though.
Yeah,
you
so
go into them.
Indeed. They go
I've
into
done
them
that myself. Actually.
Oh yeah.
I've covered a few hurricanes in my time.
Really?
You've been inside one?
I've not. Well, I was in New Iberia, Louisiana, when Hurricane Andrew hit the mainland of the United States. Yeah. So,
the second time.
The second time it hit Homestead, Florida, just devastated South Florida in '92. This was, I think, late August '92, and then it crept up the Gulf of Mexico. And I was working at a station called WERC in Birmingham at that time.
Yeah.
And we thought that Andrew was going to hit Mobile, and so we were prepared to go down to Mobile, where in fact it kept veering to the west and went toward Louisiana. I went anyway, and ironically enough, I met a man named James Spann down there who was also covering the hurricane.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah,
okay.
so that was one of them. But there were others. There were Hurricane Charlie. There were a few.
Yeah. I mean, because I grew up in Florida, and what you would get always were the people that would go surfing before the hurricane hit because the surf was so choppy.
Yeah.
And then there would be the people that would go and they would just basically bring a camera and they would try and get as much footage as they could to sell it.
Yeah.
And those people were incredibly insane.
So Richard Heaney and his wife Mayumi appeared the same year as the Balloon Boy incident, 2009, on the ABC show Wife Swap. And so that is where he kind of got his first taste of real fame. He was known as like an eccentric around. He was inventing things constantly. He was shooting rockets into the sky.
Chasing storms.
All these things you think would be fairly content with.
Exactly. But no, he got lured in by the seductress known as show business and is now appeared on the show Wife Swap. So it's him hanging out with his kids, and then he has this very like the wife that he trades with is like very overprotective of their children, and so it's a bit of a shock when his.
So, Laura, you ever ridden in a velocipede before?
Oh man!
So his wife goes to the other.
Built it with found objects.
His wife goes to the other house and is like appalled by the fact that like the parents have like
this is Mayuma?
Yeah, Mayumi goes to
Mayumi
goes to the other house and like they have like dog gates for their children to like sequester them in various rooms, and she's just like, you shouldn't be trapped in rooms like this.
Goodness.
Like and then meanwhile in the Heaney house, the children are literally jumping off of a balcony like a banister onto a couch below, and granted it looks really fun and
fun till you have to go to the hospital.
well, that's the thing. Like the swapped wife like comes in and she's like, "What are you going to do about this to Richard?" And he goes, "Kids, get off the wood railing. They're messing up my wooden railing."
Oh my goodness!
Kids, stop playing ECW. Right? Stop playing New Jack.
So I should tell you guys right now, Richard Heaney is he deals with stress.
Richard Allen Heaney.
Richard Allen Heaney Jr. Deals with stress in a pretty unique way, which is by playing harmonica. So in this clip, this is him after a while just freaking out because his swapped wife is just nagging him, and so he gets real mad, and this is what it sounds like.
Exactly what I've been talking about.
What's that?
This is really a perfect example. Go get this. Go get that. Go do this. Go do that.
Okay, you're supposed to live the life of Mayumi. Mayumi doesn't jackhammer me. She doesn't go. And I really don't want to hear that because you're entering into a huge negative field. Okay, here you go. Here's how I handle this. Hey, baby, come on in and get my jackhammer. You know what I'm gonna do? Hey, this is a rental store. I got a broken jackhammer over here. I think the switch is broken. How do you turn the jackhammer off? I've been listening to your nagging, you're moaning, you're groaning all day long, and I don't want to hear it.
So he freaks out and he plays the harmonica.
It sounds like the intro to Roseanne.
Yeah. So he, that is how he deals with his stress, and obviously
we all have our ways.
Yeah.
Right?
He is a nut. Right?
Yeah, he has
harmonica.
I mean, he has that like aggressive Henry Rollins cadence, and then he.
By the way, do you know where they sell harmonicas? At the Cracker
Store?
Barrel, next to the what is it? The offensive driving, right? The manual.
They also
the Richard Allen Co. No,
David Allen
Heaney.
Co. Oh, Richard
Yeah,
Heaney,
and the harmonica's in the blister pack with the.
It is absolutely.
Yeah.
I've bought a harmonica from Cracker Barrel. I can't believe I just admitted that. But anyway,
I bought a kazoo
It was
from
like
Cracker
$4.
Barrel, yeah.
Was it one of them little marine band ones?
No,
like
it was it called Brand, I think, or something like that. I forget what it was called.
You know what key it was in?
No.
Because ain't they usually C when you get like those cheap ones or something like that?
Oh, it was very cheap, right? And then I took it home and I was making some, harmonizing with it, and then I thought, oh my God, I can play the harmonica, right? And then everybody else was like, no, you can't play the harmonica.
Well, I mean, how do you actually play the harmonica? Is it mainly just like breathe in, breathe out?
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Maybe like flutter your tongue a little bit.
I mean, if
or
you're Bob
wave your
Dylan,
hand.
if you're Bob Dylan and you have a little, accoutrement where it's like, and it's you don't have to use your hands.
Yeah.
Oh
There
my
we
goodness.
go.
Oh my goodness, he's pulling one out right now. That looks like a retainer, by the way.
It does.
Doesn't it? It looks like you're fixing your teeth. Doesn't it? Oh my goodness.
It's kind of.
You're jackhammering me. You're fucking jackhammering me.
Can I give you some radio advice here for a second? Some
Yes,
radio,
sir.
just somebody who's done this for 30 years.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I want you to describe what you just pulled out of the drawer.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So the folks at home can know exactly what just happened. Yeah.
Based on our level
Rivers is
of,
very stressed right now.
our
so we
level
needed his
of our
harmonica.
level of revulsion, I think he can pretty much.
Are you
guess
taking a
as to what-
picture of it? Is this part of the podcast?
So this is the new way we'll do it. So you can find us. You can find us at the Good Spot on Twitter. And here's a picture of my my harmonica in the holster.
He breathes in and breathes out pretty well. Yeah, he does.
It turns out the song "Machine Head" by Bush is an instructional on harmonica. Breathe in, breathe out.
Is this one of marine band ones that you got?
Perhaps you can collaborate with Metallica at some point.
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
So anyway, the point is he's nuts, and he was so popular in his first appearance of Wife Swap that for the 100th episode of Wife Swap, he was voted by the audience to have his entire family come back. So he's actually on 2 episodes of Wife Swap, and based on the success of that, he hoped to then parlay his appearances on Wife Swap because his family obviously is now known by a pretty large
This
segment
was on
of the
ABC?
general public.
Yeah.
It's on ABC, his network. So people are like, oh, that crazy guy with the harmonica.
Yeah,
and
with the
the
hair-
experiments.
Yeah, and the 7-year-old's haircut.
I still can't believe you just had this thing handy.
It was in his desk drawer. It was like he just pulled it out.
Well, I didn't even know there was drawers on the other end, so it was Daffy Duck-like when this thing just came out of nowhere all of a sudden.
Yeah, I guess good night. You've been on that side of the table for like.
Yeah, I know. I don't think I got up into that end of the table yet, except for the one time I sat on the bed, I think, and I didn't know there was drawers.
What else do you have in there, by the way, besides the harmonica? That looks like a retainer.
Oh, God. Well, I've got extra windscreens.
Oh, that's good.
Sometimes,
they're different colors.
Sometimes these get gross.
I thought that was a line.
Got some headphones, lots of guitar strings.
Some
This
I was
is
going to say, this windscreen smells like coffee, by the way.
Tuner.
So I don't know who was drinking coffee
harmonica.
before this.
You have so many harmonicas that you need a fishing vest for
No,
them.
it's very exciting.
like Blues Traveler.
Yeah.
I need a fishing
Is
vest.
that like a
sometime
term
for my pot
paper from
gimmicks.
2005?
Yeah.
No, all right.
No, I got
drumsticks.
drum
Or
brushes.
those nunchucks. What are
They're
those?
brushes.
Drum brushes, in case Charlie Watts shows up someday. Or anybody wants to just play some
my
smooth
God.
jazz.
Oh, that's awesome.
Can you use those for like basting and things too?
No, I think you could bass with that. You really could.
Yeah. So
You really could.
anyway, all of this is getting cut.
Wow.
Anyway.
You had a kazoo in here.
Is it all? It's all getting cut? Oh.
Well, no, I mean, I don't know. Whatever.
You've had this
We
kazoo
want
in
Rivers' magic cabinet to be in the damn show.
my curiosity.
I think it's very good. Absolutely.
I think you mean Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium.
That's what I call my bedroom.
Mine is the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus.
God.
So the point is that
You're a sick man.
Dear God.
So the point is that somebody gave this monster a taste of fame.
Yeah.
And that is bad always.
I don't think anybody gave him a taste of. It sounds like he was seeking fame.
Well,
from
he
the
got it.
beginning.
He had a taste of
And then he
harmonica. We
got
know
it.
that.
Yeah, he got. Well, I should say, yeah. I guess the point.
It wasn't given to him. He was seeking it. If you want to, he should get the award for
he
like.
sought fame,
Yeah.
and then a network, the ABC network, Disney, was like, you know what? We are validating you, Richard
Well,
Heaney.
no, my question was the harmonica thing, for example, was that something he always did, or was that a put on that he was like thinking of like schemes that he's like, all right, I'm going to be on this, I'm going to be on Wife Swap. I need to do a puck. I need to do like I need to make my
like
from
real
the
world.
real world.
yeah, or,
Yeah.
or Mike Mizanin or something like that.
Yeah.
Like I need to do something to set me apart. What sort of gimmick do I need?
He's a bit of a shitty polymath. Like he's like a general contractor. He's an inventor. He's a musician. Like
Something he can't hold down a job.
You know, that's the other thing. He's perpetually unemployed.
But-
See, but as a journalist, I'd love to talk to him. I'd love to
oh
interview
yeah,
him.
yeah. Well, and he'd love to be interviewed.
Do you have a phone module there? Can we give him a ring right now? No.
I bet he'd talk.
You could
to us.
probably get him right now. Maybe he'd even play harmonica over the phone.
But was the harmonica thing something he always did, or was it something that he just invented, where he was just like, all right, what?
I would hate to speculate.
I need a scheme. I need a
would-
gimmick.
yeah.
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 Need a gimmick, kid.
So the point is, he's now been on network.
Right,
People are aware of this family.
Right.
In 2009, the same year this happened, after the 2 appearances on Wife Swap, the Heenies, specifically Richard, started pitching a reality show to the Learning Channel.
And this was the time where they had like was John and Kate plus 8 on TLC.
Yes, that was when John and Kate
Trading places.
Yeah, yeah,
Spaces.
yeah.
Trading spaces.
Trading
Excuse
Spaces,
me.
John and Kate
Yeah.
plus 8. Like it was the height of
Honey Boo Boo.
Right,
or
right. There
Dance
wasn't
On,
much
whatever.
learning
No,
on
that
the
was-
Learning
yeah.
Channel.
Yeah, I think I was
Right.
like A&E.
And that's why I also say that this is kind of the like almost the turning point of not just news but media in general, because the TLC turned severely toxic right around this time, where it was John and Kate plus 8, which was like, oh, they have a lot of kids. But then all of a sudden it was like My 600-Pound Life.
No,
And,
it
like,
was, it got severe reality. Is what happened there. Yeah.
I think a lot of cable
Yeah.
channels, those suffered a lot of drift around that
Severe
period.
reality. Yeah.
Is that the real genre term, or is it?
No, I just made that up.
Severe reality.
It is
That's
severe reality.
hilarious.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I have watched My 600-Pound Life.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
Just out of curiosity, I laid in bed one night and I just watched this, and I can't even tell you what was going through my mind.
Yeah.
But
Oh.
one of which was put down that peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, it was
my
like
strange addiction, where it's like I've been eating my boyfriend's ashes.
Yeah, it's too.
was a real one?
No, it wasn't. Was it
It's,
really?
Yeah, it's too reality.
His remains.
Yeah, like her boyfriend died. They cremated him, and she was like, "Yeah, I started off with about 10 pounds of ashes, and I'm down to about 2."
What the hell happened to cable TV?
Yeah.
Hey, well, My Strange Addiction. There was one episode where a guy was revealing to his dad that he had a sexual relationship with a Ford Probe. So
The car.
the car, yeah.
Yeah. So in 2009, Richard Heaney pitched a reality show to TLC about his family. TLC passed on the show.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go.
Yeah.
This is price of admission right here. This is
Yeah.
what you've all been waiting for. He's constantly building things, and one of those things was a saucer-shaped balloon, which was an early prototype and an experiment for an alternative form of transportation. In which, quote, people can pull out of their garage and hover above traffic at about 50 or 100 feet. And he also stated that, quote,
And drift over traffic very slowly.
quote, once the, quote, high voltage timer was switched on, the balloon would emit 1 million volts of electricity every 5 minutes for 1 minute in order to move the craft left and right horizontally. So he basically had a lightning machine attached to a balloon that he would then hopefully like emit electricity in one direction, hoping to use electrical currents in the Earth's atmosphere to move the balloon
So
around.
he was like a Nikola Tesla wannabe.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
with,
Has
anybody
maybe with a
actually-
little Elon Musk mixed in, right?
Well, has
Yeah.
anybody actually
Yeah.
seen this thing? Did he actually have it?
Oh yes, yes he did.
With electricity.
Well, no, I don't know, but not that part. But definitely, he built the thing. So the balloon measured 20 feet in diameter, and it was about 5 feet high, and was constructed from plastic tarps, which were taped together, covered with aluminum foil.
Wait, taped? taped
together. One presumes with electrical tape, but who's to say?
No, electrical tape is not very sticky, though. No, you can't put things together with you have to use duct tape, yeah.
See, I just figured if there's so much
gaffer's tape, right?
Yeah, gaffing tape. Yeah, or the one that's
the really sticky stuff.
The metallic one that they put over air ducts.
Absolutely. Yeah, you could, or Flex Seal. Have you seen that on the infomercials?
Oh, you can put
them on underwater.
You can put a screen door.
Where the guy cuts the boat in half and sticks it back together.
He sticks it back together with a Flex Seal, and he goes,
a screen door.
It's amazing.
There's no way that's gonna work, though, man.
He makes it work on television.
He makes it work on a commercial, but that guy used to hang from his helmet with the crazy glue.
With the crazy glue.
And I can't even get the damn thing to when my hat band came off my other hat. I couldn't even get to stick my hat back together.
So
it only works on bricks, and
because I thought of that asshole hanging from his head. How is he not dead?
We all remember that commercial.
I can't stick my hat
He was hanging high too.
On.
He was like 20 stories
hanging high
up
with his legs like this. And how does he
dangling with his construction hat on? Which, by the way, how was the construction hat affixed to his head? Is that what it was?
Or something
was he was literally hanging himself, right? Was it around his chin?
There was something on top of his helmet.
It was on his helmet, but his head was connected to his helmet. So how did they put crazy glue on his head?
He probably had a chin strap, right?
Well, then you would be hanging yourself.
Well, not
maybe
under
it was.
the chin.
You know what? The one thing that you will not get off crazy glue off is your fingers and your hair. So maybe it was in his hair, and his hair was glued to his helmet.
Well, Marmalade worked.
Can we roll the
Bear.
tape? We need to. Yeah, I don't know. We need to look at
his hat kept getting stuck to his fur.
Okay. Pull out the harmonica again. Maybe.
So, all right. So the balloon was held together by string and duct tape. Also.
He didn't call it the monkey business, did he? That would have been funny, right? That would have been funny.
Well, it sounds like something Curious George would throw together. So mentioned Paddington. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, he did that and got a medal. Yeah.
The base of the balloon was a utility box made with a very thin piece of plywood and with cardboard on the side.
Why skimp on the box? That's the part you got to sit in.
And for some reason, this article feels the need to.
Isn't that what's it called? A pergola? No, not a pergola. What do they call it?
A funicular?
A gondola.
The gondola of a blimp. I went on a blimp, the Goodyear blimp at the where the 110 and the 405 meet.
Yeah.
I did a story about that being on the blimp. It was the last blimp that Goodyear had before they started to a new kind of blimp.
Oh no!
And I rode in the gondola.
You went in the gondola.
Did you go to Carson?
We did go to Carson. Absolutely.
Every time you drive down that way, you can see it right on the highway side. Yeah.
One of 2 or 3, I think, in the country where the blimps are based. Yeah, it's true. All right. Little tidbit of fact.
That's great.
Fun. Information.
The gondola of this thing is made out of plywood and cardboard.
Oh, that's good. More substantive.
And that, and again, and for some reason, this article feels the need to stress this twice. It was held together with string and duct tape. They say it twice.
Have you ever heard about what POWs did?
That got really dark.
That could go anywhere.
No. You remember there was these English POWs, and they were in this castle called Colditz, and they made a glider plane out of just cardboard
to escape
and string and stuff. Yeah,
How did that go?
They didn't end up using it because the Americans showed up, and the camp was liberated before they could use the glider.
Well, yeah.
But they were able to make this whole glider plane just out of crap underneath the Germans'
Was this in a movie or what was?
No, this was real life.
It was Hogan's Heroes.
Yeah,
no, it was real.
Was it?
It was the not great escape.
Well, kids had the ice bucket, the radio and the ice bucket. You know what always got me with Hogan's Heroes? Why were the Germans always speaking German? No, Scott, they were speaking English when they were by themselves. Then they have the radio in Klink's office, and Klink is talking to the other Germans, and General Burkhalter, all these people speaking English.
Why are you doing that? Why are you're applying logic to something that's illogical? because it was an American show.
But here's the thing: it was
in this country
occasionally
speak English.
implied, though, if you watch certain episodes, especially the early ones, it was occasionally implied that Kinch was the only one that actually spoke German.
Yeah.
So it was not consistent.
So here we are, the incident. So you've got the balloon in the driveway. So again, this is October 15th, 2009.
Did he have a media event for this? Did he solicit this to the media organizations there in Colorado Springs?
No, but he was sure to film it.
He was.
For himself, for his own personal records.
Right.
This is the raw video of the liftoff. And you can find this at the Goods Pod, but we're going to hear the audio right now. So there's a bunch of kids standing in the driveway with Dad. The camera's shaky. He's looking at the camera.
A little shaky. Right.
And now they're just standing back, and one of the kids is not holding up his end of the balloon, and now the balloon is about to lift off. And apparently the youngest son, Falcon, had been seen playing in the gondola of the balloon earlier.
Right.
And so you see one side of the
there it
mooring.
goes.
The mooring is not connected.
There it goes.
Listen to Richard.
Are you here, Heather? You didn't put the tether down.
Yeah, so it's just him screaming, "God damn it!"
He didn't pull out the harmonica there,
Yeah,
though.
no,
There was no
He didn't
harmonica.
have the harmonica
No.
handy.
Oh man, he could have played all of Blues Traveler's music with that anger.
Yep. So the balloon takes
So we are
off.
to presume by what we just saw there was that it took off and Falcon, young Falcon, who was how old? 6?
Falcon Heaney, who was 6 years old at the time,
was playing in the gondola.
He'd been seen earlier in the day playing in the gondola of the balloon, and now the balloon is airborne with no way to bring it back to the ground.
with Falcon
and
in the gondola.
And the father immediately starts screaming, "Where's Falcon? Where's
Right.
Falcon?" And the children, the other 2 children, say, "He's in the balloon."
yeah.
And the balloon goes airborne.
Again, with no news media there, though, while
With
this is happening.
no news media.
Yeah.
So, according to initial reports from the sheriff, the family called the FAA, which, of course, being a meteorologist, he would have, I guess, their number. And then they called the Denver NBC affiliate, KUSA TV.
That's Channel 9, I believe, over there. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why I know these things.
And they requested that the station send a news helicopter to track the balloon. So up front, they're already like, we need this whole thing on tape, and I don't have the ability to film this shit with a helicopter, so
Right,
we need your
right.
help, media.
So this wasn't supposed to be a sure liftoff.
Yeah, no,
This was
it
just a test.
It was just a test.
It was
And there's
just a
supposedly a
test.
kid in
And there's
this.
supposedly a kid in the balloon. So this is like one of my favorite sentences
Yeah.
I've ever read. During the call to 911 at 11:29 a.m. local time, Richard Heaney said, quote, "I don't know whether it's possible for you guys to detect the electricity that it emits. It emits 1 million volts on the outer skin of the balloon." So
Is this a prank call, sir?
I mean,
1 million volts.
yeah,
a
so he
million-
was saying that this balloon emits 1 million volts, and there's
Like,
supposedly
you probably don't want to get anywhere near this balloon.
right, and there's
right?
supposedly a live child inside, and it's not somehow being cooked.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's like a microwave oven, right?
The million
Is that what it
volts
is?
did not show up in the home video.
yeah, no, none of this shit showed up in the home video.
That's why he doesn't have. That's why he doesn't have his harmonica with him. He could have gotten shocked. I mean,
It's a conductor.
yeah.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
so the balloon's going.
So so the balloon took off, and
goes
young
up.
Falcon's in the gondola.
Falcon's supposedly in the balloon.
Alleged in the
Allegedly
gondola.
in-
Though there was no sign of him in the video.
Right, no sign of him in the video.
Right.
They have, but they can't find him anywhere in the
You
house.
know, what parent doesn't know where their kids are like that?
Well, these because
I mean, but what real parent? Not these bozos.
Well, that's what I mean. But as we saw from Wife Swap, they are very much of that ilk of just like, you know, we just let the kids do whatever they
Right.
want.
Remember,
man?
they were on the banister.
Oh, yeah,
Remember,
they're
they were about
jumping
to
all
jump-
over the
jump
place.
on
We've
the
already-
loft.
yeah, like we've already
Yeah.
established that like these are not people who are looking after their kids. So when they can't,
It's usually
find-
easy to tell whether the kid is in the balloon or not.
Yeah, because it won't.
Checking the gondola helps.
Yeah. Well, the gondola is closed. You can't actually see it. Like that's why this whole thing is crazy. Because if you look at the balloon, and we'll put a picture of this up on our Twitter, it looks like a gigantic flying saucer. It's silver, and then it kind of comes to a point where the gondola is, but it doesn't have any like it's not like a hot air balloon.
Kind of looks like a parachute.
Yeah, it looks like a parachute,
So-
but it's closed at the bottom. It almost looks like the lunar lander.
But remember, the
upside
gondola
down.
was made with what? Cardboard
and
tape.
plywood.
And plywood.
And it was held together by strings and tape.
Strings and tape.
So
Yeah.
So
It was
With a
built
little
by-
boy in there.
It was built by the Little Rascals.
Right.
So I'm supposed to okay so
Our gang.
so I'm trying to map this out, right? The only way that we know that young Falcon is in the balloon is that the kids say that the kid is in the balloon
Yeah.
and they can't find it. So that's the only proof that there
The
is.
two boys say
So
the third boy is in the balloon.
Yeah, so they could be just like saying something or taking the piss that they're just like basically saying young Falcon is in the balloon.
Yeah.
And Richard Allen Heaney believes the kids, and thus that is
Did they
what,
check the house, maybe?
So that's the thing. While
Yeah.
all this is going on, Mayumi is running around screaming Falcon's name.
Right.
Yes, desperately to find the kid, and the kid is nowhere to be found.
Okay.
And meanwhile, this balloon is going, baby.
Gone, yeah,
It is
yeah,
going.
yeah.
And this is about where I tuned in because they broke into this story about 30 minutes
No,
or so
I remember
into the
this.
flight.
Yeah, I remember this.
And I was watching it, and it was just like, breaking. The CNN is here to report that above the Denver International Airport, there is a UFO-shaped balloon with a boy inside,
Yeah.
and it's drifting. Okay, so this is just like the stats on this thing. It's fucking crazy. All right, so the balloon, which was tracked by helicopters, drifted for over 60 miles, passing through Adams County and Weld County. So it crossed two counties. Planes were rerouted around the balloon's flight path, which went through the Denver airport.
1,000,000 volts.
Yeah.
A million volts.
A million volts, supposedly.
It looks like a UFO, and it's over the Denver airport. So start the conspiracy theorists already.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and if you've seen the Denver International Airport, it looks like they've got like little circus tents. Like it looks, they're pointy.
Right, and if
so you don't want that thing anywhere near the points.
Yeah, and
right?
if you've watched the Jesse Ventura conspiracy theory show, then it's for the Illuminati.
The Illuminati lives underneath the Denver International Airport.
I've never heard that.
Oh God!
Look at the mural over the baggage claim. Is it proof? Is it a conspiracy? I don't know.
I've been
That's
a
actually
governor.
pretty good. That's
I've
good.
been a wrestler.
Oh,
and
my
now
goodness.
I'm a conspiracy.
I had a really long layover and a lot of time on my hands.
So the balloon finally landed 2 hours later at 11:35 near Keensburg, Colorado, which was 12 miles northeast of the airport. And you can watch the video when the balloon comes down. It's hilarious because there's a guy running towards it trying to intercept it, and then he manages to run right past it. The balloon hits the ground really fucking hard.
Sure.
Good thing you avoided the 1,000,000 volts.
Did he know there were 1,000,000 volts emitted from that balloon?
I have no idea, but they obviously open up the balloon.
Yeah. No boy.
No boy.
Ooh.
So now
He may have fallen out.
Now it's a search and rescue. And
Right.
everybody, and I was watching this thing the whole
Right.
time, and they were like, we think maybe he fell out.
Well,
let
you
me
could
tell-
look for
let me-
holes in the gondola. That would help.
Right.
You would look for- right, because it's
He vaporized.
together with string and gaff tape, right?
At one point, this balloon, by the way, reached 7,000 feet.
Yeah.
That was the
I'm
height.
not surprised because
Yeah.
it's a. I mean, you throw a piece of paper in high wind. I mean, it's a big
Yeah.
old thing
Yeah.
that. And there's big winds around there and shit, so I'm not surprised it went high.
I
especially when it's not
remember-
weighed down by a kid.
I remember this story because I was working at Marketplace. I was here in LA, and
Yeah.
I was hosting the Marketplace Morning Report, and I would go to work at 1:00 in the morning so I could be on all the stations on the East Coast.
Right.
So, and then by about 9 or 10 o'clock, I was wrapping things up, and that's when this story broke. I think it was somewhere around noon or something.
Yeah.
And I could not go to sleep because I was riveted by it.
So you watched this.
It was one of those things where I would sleep during the day, but I could not go to sleep because this story was
Because of
happening.
the balloon boy.
Because of the balloon boy. So we were, and so yeah.
So So anyway, they mount a search and rescue. They're looking over the flight path, and that's when.
So now they're looking for the remains.
They're looking
right?
for the boy.
Yeah.
They think he fell out.
Right.
And then it was at that point at 4.
Which is tragic, really, on its face. When you think about it,
Oh, yeah,
that a
yeah.
6-year-old boy.
Young Falcon.
No,
Falcon
it's awful.
Fell out of a.
It's a good thing that he was never in there.
of his dad's invention.
Right.
So
Fly on your way.
So what is
like
his?
an eagle.
What is Richard Allen Coe's? Richard Allen Heaney, whatever his name is, David Allen Coe's. What is his? What was his excuse? So when they didn't find him there, and then they found young Falcon healthy, what did they say?
Yeah, so while they're looking for the kid, at 4:14 p.m., CNN and other news reports that the boy was found hiding in a cardboard box in the rafters above the garage.
Maybe the other sons were confused as to which cardboard box he was
Right,
hiding.
yeah, he was in the one in the garage, not the one attached to the 1,000,000-volt balloon.
So then the Heanies were saying, well, we had no idea. We just thought that we just
Right.
assumed he was in this gondola.
So instead of, trying to like handle the matter privately, they just immediately get on every news station. They
Right.
do every interview they can. And at one point they're sitting there with the kid and they're like, "Oh, we're so happy we found him in the attic." And the kid
We
like
found him in the attic, hiding in a cardboard box.
So he said
they
that-
don't have social services, I guess.
Right. So the kid said, Falcon said that he was up there napping. Like he went into the attic. They were playing hide and seek or something.
he was tired.
He went into
Right.
he went into this cardboard box and fell asleep.
Mm-hmm.
That was the initial story that Richard Heaney gave that Falcon said to him. And so they're interviewing everybody. And
Glad somebody got some sleep that day.
Right.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. So, by the way, I just pulled this one quote because it cracked my shit up. And Slate.com is whatever, but this is from 2016 about this incident. Slate.com said, "It deserves to be remembered as the moment when cable news emerged from its chrysalis and became the entity it was genetically designed to become, a fundamentally unjournalistic medium, uniquely susceptible to the wheelings of vain vain and manipulative grifters condemned to follow shiny objects until the end of time.
Dear God.
Which is so funny.
Wow.
It's
That's quite. Will you print that out for me? I actually need to look at that.
That's pretty much true.
I mean, it's literally following a shiny object for hours and hours. So, like I said, rather than sit back and handle the situation privately, the Heenies leapt into the limelight. Richard invited about 30 journalists into his home so they could see where Falcon had hid. The boy took part in the media circus, though it didn't always go as smoothly as they wanted it to. So the next day, they had an interview on the Today Show, and Falcon vomited in the middle of the interview because he was so stressed out, obviously, by all the
He needed a
stuff.
harmonica.
To calm down. Yeah. So the turning point for law enforcement came during an interview with CNN's Wolf Blitzer.
In the Situation Room.
Was the Situation Room?
It's a very important place to be. Yeah.
The pressure cooker of the Fourth Estate.
You know, yeah. With the dramatic music, can you hear it now? Absolutely. You're in the Situation Room.
Yeah. So Wolf Blitzer asked Falcon whether he heard his parents calling for him. It was like, Falcon, did you hear your parents calling for you while you were hiding in the box? And Falcon said yes. And Richard Heaney asks his son, and why didn't you come out of the box? And Falcon says, you guys said that we did this for the show. And that is the turning point. All of a sudden, it goes from like, whoopsies, big mistake, to this was a way, hopefully, allegedly, please don't sue us, Richard Heaney, a way for the Heenies to spin a would-be national tragedy / false alarm into maybe getting TLC to pick up the fucking phone the next time they call.
Yeah.
This is basically the plot of the rock opera Tommy.
Tommy, can you hear me? Right, deaf, dumb, blind boy. Yeah,
and then becomes a charlatan.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, without the Acid Queen, though.
Yeah,
I don't know where the Acid Queen would be in this.
So now the cops are investigating them actively for perpetrating this hoax.
What was Wolf's follow-up to this was all for show?
It's funny to watch the video, and we'll pop the video up on our Twitter so you can see it. But it's crazy because when they ask him the thing, like the family just kind of like their eyes go big as saucers and they kind of just look at the camera.
Yeah.
It's this moment where like you're staring into the void and then the Heaney family stares back from the void.
Right, but if there's this moment on television where now again, was the child telling the truth? I mean, children are known for blurting out the truth, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Kids say the darndest things.
They do.
From
they
the mouths of babes.
Especially in the Situation Room, they say the darndest things, right? Don't they? So what was the reaction? Because now I'm having trouble thinking about this. How did Wolf Blitzer?
So
if this happened on my show, you would pounce.
You follow that rabbit
You'd be
down
like,
the hole.
Wait, what? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so Blitzer did not question the boy further after the statement was made.
He didn't?
What? Why have a Situation Room if you're not going to follow up on that?
I know.
So during the next day, they had an interview on Good Morning America and Today.
Well, now this says Wolf Blitzer didn't hear the answer when the boy revealed why he didn't come out of the garage. And when he was told by people in the control room what he said, Blitzer did not question the boy further after the statement was made.
So in the control room, they're like, follow up, Wolf. He's like, we're going to commercial. I'm almost done for the day.
Perhaps. Maybe there was a garlic ad or something that they had to get into that time slot. That stop set needed to be played
for
at that
breath
point.
gems.
Breath gems? I don't know. Oh my
Omega
God.
XL. Is that
My goodness.
Yeah.
So, but then the sheriff's department got involved, right? After the kid said this on television.
So the sheriff's department confirmed that making a false report to authorities would result in a Class 3 misdemeanor, and expressed that this is the charge they were going to go after.
A million volts.
Emitted from the balloon.
How is this not a prank call when you call up the authorities and you say, I think my son Falcon is flying away in a balloon, and the balloon, I made it from like cardboard and duct tape and thing.
String.
But be careful because it emits a million volts every second.
Yeah. Is that akin to like, is your refrigerator running? Remember you got Prince Albert in a can?
It is the electric.
One of my favorites.
Let him out.
It is the electric eel of the firmament above Colorado.
It's like, sir, I've watched Yahoo Serious' Young Einstein. All right. I know that's part of the movie. That's why his hair is like that.
Oh, no, but y'all said that he was on TV the next day.
this
So
was the
did
next
they
day.
take him to task about being a fraud?
Yeah. So all of a sudden, everybody was taken to task. And what they said was that what he was referring to when he said we did this all for the show was that when he allowed those 30 reporters to come into the house, there was a woman who was reporting for a Japanese news service who didn't speak very good English, who was asking to see the box in the attic.
Well, Mayumi was there, right?
Right, well,
Isn't she
Mayumi-
Japanese?
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Yeah,
the one
she's
called
be able to-
Japanese media.
Right.
Yeah.
But he was following this reporter to show her where the box was that he was hiding.
Oh,
And
so that was the show he was alluding to.
According to the Heenies, when he said
Right.
we were doing this for the show, he was confused and he was talking about the Japanese news show and not the show of life.
Maybe that's plausible.
I think so too.
Yeah.
That's a big caveat of this whole thing is like their explanation is fairly plausible. But
Right.
yeah, so anyway, the sheriff's office officially files charges for that third degree misdemeanor there.
Sure.
And the Heenies surrender to the police. Richard Heaney's attorney announced on November 12th, 2009 that both parents intended to plead guilty to the charges filed against them, for which the
Did he call up court TV to see if they wanted to cover him?
Maybe there was something like that. Or who was the woman? Nancy Grace.
Oh, bombshell tonight.
Good morning, Russ. Richard and Naomi Heaney are expected here shortly. They are expected to plead guilty to separate charges. Their misadventure has now become a crime. A guilty plea would formally take the air out of Richard Heaney's claims that he really believed his 6-year-old boy was carried away. But yesterday, Heaney turned himself in, shortly after his attorney announced the father would plead to a felony charge of attempting to influence a public servant in the hoax. His wife, Naomi, also surrendered on a misdemeanor offense of filing a false report.
So the reason that they pled guilty, according to the Heenies, is because if they actually let the thing go to trial and they were found guilty, there would be a chance that Mayumi would be deported back to Japan. So their official reason for pleading guilty was not because they were actually guilty, but because if they basically, the cops were like, we won't deport your wife. We'll just let her do her like little tiny stretch in jail, and that'll be it. And so that's why they both agreed to plead guilty. So on December 23rd, 2009, a judge sentenced Richard Heaney to 90 days in jail and 100 hours of community service. And he was also ordered to write a formal apology to the agency that searched for Falcon.
Plus other offensive driving book, because the judge really wanted one.
He probably did. Get the harmonica out. Was he singing that? Was he playing the harmonica in the jail cell?
In jail, yeah.
Nobody knows the trouble I've seen. There you go.
Your Honor, can I cross-examine the witness? Says the guy tuning up his banjo.
That would be quite good, right? The circle of life that's come around. Now he played on the wife swap show, and now he's in jail playing the harmonica there. He's seen a lot.
And you're supposed to play a harmonica in jail because they did that in old movies.
That's what they did. Absolutely.
I wonder
you
if
take
he
the
used
harmonica with you.
The harmonica in the tin cup that you hit against the bars.
Well, that's like if you want more food, isn't it? Or
I wonder if he used the harmonica in his allocution. That would be a nice touch.
So Mayumi was sentenced to 20 days in jail to be served through a jail-supervised community service. Mayumi was also allowed to begin her sentence after her husband's ended in order so that the children would all be cared for the whole time. And the Heenies were also banned from receiving any profits from the hoax for several years. Richard Heaney was ordered to pay $36,000 in restitution, and in a 2015 interview with
It's like the end of Dragnet.
it is.
Richard Heaney was a
in 2015 interview with Today magazine, not even the Today Show. Fucking that creepo Matt Lauer wouldn't have anything to do with him. Today magazine, the Heenies stated that the incident was not a hoax. So I want to stress this. They say that this was not a hoax. They say that this was all. They
say it was not a hoax. They pleaded guilty to those things because they wanted Mayumi to stay in the United States. Right.
But
and they wanted to clean this up, and they paid restitution for the sheriff's activity, right, to search for this boy.
FAA,
all of that.
The
all right.
FAA, all that stuff. So,
all right, so here we are.
So again, like we were saying, like at the beginning of this whole thing, like this whole kind of incident becomes a weird turning point of the news following shiny objects that add up to nothing. But now is where we get to the postscript, and this is I'm going to run through this as quick as we can because this is where it gets really weird and sad. What?
I remember the one of the first dates my wife and I went on was to a live taping of Mark Maron's WTF.
In his garage in Highland Park?
I wish. No, it was at UCB.
Oh,
so it wasn't at the Cat Ranch.
Yeah.
and Eddie Pepitone was on, and he spent about 10 minutes roiling the media. Well, no, it just started out. He comes out, he grabbed the microphone, he just goes, "Let me tell you about this balloon fuck."
But that, Mark asked me to talk about the balloon fuck yesterday, and I will. Now, this is what gets me about this fucking society now. I used to think Wolf Blitzer was a journalist. Guess what? I was dead fucking wrong. That fucking idiot is going, the balloon, the kid, is it? And they had experts on. Did you watch this? They had fucking experts on CNN going, well, with the amount of helium, I don't know if we could hold that child. And I'm watching this going, my life is horrible.
Oh, I forgot to fucking include this. So when the balloon incident happened, he already had a pitch for a TV show in mind. And he'd already made a theme song, which was going to be a show about weather and energy and all the things he was interested in, called Richard Heaney's Science Detective.
Oh.
Science spelled P-S-Y-I-E-N-C-E. This is a little sample. I love
it. Sounds like a surf movie.
Listen to the background singers.
You need to get a garage band from 1965 to record this.
The planets, the whole universe. Tune into the show. It's really effective. Watch Richard Heaney, Science Detective.
What? It's almost like Schoolhouse Rock, isn't it? A little bit, yeah.
And I
Burbs, that's what's happening.
So
we wanted to be like the next Bill Nye.
Beekman or something.
Beekman, Mr. Wizard.
In 2010, and you'll love this, Pat, Heaney's probation was transferred from Larimer County, Colorado, to Florida.
Hell yeah.
And the family moved to
where he became a Florida man.
To where they should have been this whole time. I don't know what. The fact this is in Colorado is crazy because this has Florida written all over.
Maybe it had better winds for like balloon flight.
Well, certainly higher in elevation. Absolutely, yeah.
So they moved to Spring Hill, Florida, which is just north of Tampa.
Sure, yeah.
That's not by Defuniak Springs. It's one of my favorites. Anyway.
Seeking what Richard Heaney called the Sunshine State's great energy.
Oh, all right.
The Sunshine State's
Is that
great
the sad part of the story?
Richard,
actually, the Sunshine Sure. In Florida, the great energy is a euphemism for synthetic marijuana. So.
So he did try to market very unsuccessfully a couple of inventions.
Okay.
Sure. This is one of his Florida inventions. Hang on.
Oh boy.
Always the best invention.
By the way, did he send you the theme music? Are you like Richard Heaney's new?
This is available on YouTube. All of this.
Did you write in for Richard Heaney's press packet or something?
No, this is Heaney Duty Truck Transformers. So there he is squealing around in a truck.
Okay.
I'm Richard Heaney, and boy, do I love my truck. That's why I would never permanently mount toolboxes or a lumber rack on the back. No, I'm going to use my pickup to pick up hot chicks. That's why I invented all new.
Jumped in his arms.
His wife in a bra.
I didn't catch her very well. I don't know, but what is this invention? I don't know. Oh my goodness.
Oh, yes.
It is a hydraulically lifted robot
Lifting capacity of over 2,400 pounds.
that sits in the back of your truck.
Go.
And then you can lift a bunch of stuff and put it in the thing. We'll put this on our Twitter.
Oh, it looks like it's a hydraulic lift to load like the back of a pickup.
Right.
That might actually be useful.
Yeah.
Why is advertising it like this? I don't know.
It's crazy.
What year is this, by the way?
This is 2011, so this is 2 years after the balloon boy.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, a couple years after. Now, my favorite invention, and this one's kind of crazy, and also seems like it would have an incredibly high price point.
You would think.
This one is
$29.95.
So we've gone from as high tech as you can
it's Falcon. Holy shit.
Yeah, Falcon's in it. And
he is?
And he's advertised as Balloon Boy. Like, they put his name like Falcon, a.k.a. Balloon Boy.
We have made some benches with our extra zoomer panels.
Yeah, so Falcon's in it. The whole family's in both of these.
Mayumi's in a bra.
Yeah, Mayumi's in a bra.
Is she the one who jumped in his arms?
Well, she had to double up and play 2 roles.
Yeah. So, like I said, we've gone from as high tech as you can get to as low tech as you can possibly
Very
get.
bold of him to go with the. Sorry.
If you itch like a son of a twitch, there's only one thing to do the job.
Hi, I'm inventor Richard Heaney. If you itch like a son of a twitch, then you need my latest invention, the patent-pending bear scratch. Check it out. You never walk out in the woods and see a bear bring off a branch to scratch his back. No, he uses the entire tree.
Oh my
Order it
God.
at bearscratch.com. The secret is in this natural textured wood and all these tiny knots. It gives you a deep, deep, penetrating scratching. Oh man, this thing feels good. This thing's strong.
Is this for real?
It's for real.
I've done this like on the corner of a wall before, right?
Well, yeah, that's the thing.
We've
If
all
you
done
have
that,
an itch in the back of your back, there's not much else you can do.
No, it's true. Well, just like the song says, right?
Or you could just get this.
Yeah, it's a piece of wood. It's a piece of wood that you mount to your the corner of a doorway, so you can rub your back up and down.
But that would maybe like a bear. Could you wipe your ass on this thing too?
How much is that, by the way? Does it say?
I believe for this piece of wood, it is.
Does it say?
If you get an axe, you can make your own for cheaper.
You can.
So $30 for 2 pieces of wood.
Oh, that's
that you
not
can
bad.
No, it's
Is
not.
it hand whittled?
I don't know.
Hand whittled.
1.5 inches of thick material. You can own your own bear scratch for only $19.99. Imagine paying
But you
$7
can double
for
it
that
up for
wimpy
$30.
one, or $19 for the heavy duty one. I'll take the heavy duty one any day of the week. It cleans up so easy because it's got.
It's easy
How
to
do you
clean.
stick it to the wall? Do you nail it to the
mount
wall?
It. It's like it's got screws and stuff, so you mount it to the wall.
Because
Call me
bears do
crazy,
this.
but some of this kind of stuff I think might sell if he had somebody else doing the commercials.
Right.
Maybe, yeah.
But yeah.
I like the ones where, the old infomercials where they're always in black and white. They pan back, that's like, oh no, you can't. This towel is a disaster. Blah,
Tired
blah.
of
It's always
scratching your back with your hand and arm?
Or you're, like frying eggs and the eggs are like all over the stove, because you can't crack an egg into a frying pan. So
Who wants to have messy eggs?
right, exactly.
So the quest for relevancy. There's 2 last little things in Mr. Heaney's quest for relevancy. First being, and this is from the Tampa Bay Times, Richard Heaney is the author and director of American Chili, a rockestra musical.
Rockestra?
A rockestra.
Like orchestra?
Like orchestra, but with rock. Performed by the Heaney Boys, spelled very much like the Hardy Boys, Boyz, the world's youngest heavy metal band.
So he's making his own shags, only with boys.
The 3 children.
This is happening right now.
This is now. The most recent concert was November of 2017 of the Heaney Boys. They're touring. Falcon plays bass and sings lead, and then the 2 brothers are on drums and guitar. And they're putting together a rockestra musical. I don't know why they don't just call it a rock opera, but a rockestra.
Well, because rock opera is already taken.
Yeah.
Rockestra is Paul McCartney's solo song.
Now there was here's another Alabamian Rivers I can tell you about. Do you remember Sun Ra?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Sun Ra and his orchestra.
Oh, that's right.
Remember his orchestra?
Orchestra.
Yes,
Absolutely.
jazz musician. Absolutely.
This is a rockestra.
This is a rockestra.
Yeah.
Spike Jones, didn't he have a symphony?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, he did have a
Was it
symphony, yeah.
So
it sounds like Zamboni, by the way. It's like what you clear the ice with.
Yeah, the thing like
symphony.
Caillou wrote in that time.
So, American Chili is based on a script that Heaney wrote in 1999, and it starts with with a 19th century gold prospector named Morgan Enright, who kills some Indians in the desert because he was high on peyote.
This sounds pretty good so far.
The Indians cursed the land for 6 generations, and the action picks up with Morgan Enright VI, who is running a gas station and a restaurant at the edge of the desert. The rest of the play is almost impossible to follow, and I'm quoting from the Tampa Bay Times here.
And it's chili spelled CHILLY.
like the penguin.
So this ain't about like chili.
Yeah, and it's not like child, like voodoo child. Yeah,
But it ain't about like beef and.
Well, that would be Chile.
Sometimes it is. Sometimes you'll see. Sometimes it is. So the action picks up with this guy who's running a gas station in the middle of the desert. But the rest of the play is almost impossible to follow. There's something about a snake monster that comes out of the toilet that can only be seen under the influence of peyote. The boys play the son of a television broadcaster for Neg News.
Can this movie only be seen under the influence of peyote?
Which broadcasts sensational stories, and several incomprehensible characters in a row eat laxative spiked chili served by Enright or his wife, which sends them to the restroom and their deaths.
And their deaths?
The loud audio of digestive tracts in distress repeats with each new victim.
So it's a fart movie.
It's a fart movie.
No, or they pooped to death.
Pooped to death.
That's terrible.
As Falcon Heaney said, quote, "It still makes us laugh." Between scenes, the boys play original songs. Falcon's voice has not changed yet, and his vocals hang a layer above the driving sound of Ryo's drums and Bradford's guitars. Aside from the mess that is this production, the kids are capable musicians. According to Heaney, more than 1,100 tickets have been sold. So that's pretty good. So
did he buy them themselves?
So you can check out the parts of the musical. There's lots of it online. They have their own channel, Heaney Boys, on YouTube. But I just wanted to play, and the lyrics are very difficult to hear, but something relevant to this this story, which is the Heaney Boys did a song called "Balloon Boy, No Hoax."
From Finger It Out.
Is that what it's really called? Finger It? Oh my goodness.
There's Falcon.
Sounds like Rock and Roll by Led Zeppelin.
Falcon's got very long hair, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Never had one of those games.
The drum kit is actually on top of the balloon.
Yeah.
Everything went wrong.
So I'm gonna fade this just because it goes so damn slow.
There's Balloon Boy.
It's Balloon Boy. Yeah,
wait,
he's in the balloon.
It looks like he was video. Yeah.
Seriously, this is like the Shags.
Yeah. So
he's got great hair.
Yeah, he's got amazingly great hair.
Wow.
So the lyrics to Balloon Boy, No Hoax. Ever had one of those days where everything went wrong?
Everybody's fucked. Everything sucks.
Yeah, the shit hits
and
the
you
fan.
Justify ripping someone's head off.
There are expletives in this from Young Falcon?
Oh, yeah. Who the hell is Wolf? Is a lyric, meaning Wolf Blitzer.
Of course.
My life has changed after that day. Saucer meant for good. Asian reporter said to me, "Show me for my show." We told the truth. The sheriff's lied. These are the lyrics to these songs. They were written by the boys, by the way. And this is the chorus.
It sounds like they're written by
It
kids.
could be the original fake news,
Yeah.
right?
We're getting there.
It really was, actually.
Right? Yeah.
So the chorus, "Balloon Boy, no hoax. Balloon Boy, no hoax." Second verse, "Threatened to deport my mother. My dad copped a plea. I'm not who you think I am. I am the Falcon.
I'm not Balloon Boy.
You can't
I'm
take
Falcon.
You can't take me down. Higher and higher it flew.
This is surreal.
Floated
by the
far
way.
away.
This is surreal.
I am stronger. You can suck my ass."
I'll take a rain check on that.
Well,
Balloon Boy, no hoax. Balloon Boy, no hoax.
You know, I think that the idea that the kids wrote it themselves is dubious, just based on Richard Heaney's use of Ace Ventura moves in his commercials. I think he wrote it.
And
"Suck my ass" does sound like Richard
but you
Haney
can't.
talk.
You don't know that. You don't know that for a fact.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Pat, you're besmirching one of the headliners of last year's Daytona Palooza.
Oh, okay.
Please hold your tongue. HeaneyBoys.com. I'm promoting.
Wow.
Wait, Heaney Boys were at Daytona Palooza?
Daytona Palooza. Can
On
you
the East
believe
Coast
it?
of Florida.
Yeah, can you believe it? And now,
Yes, I can. Actually, I absolutely can.
now,
do they use their balloon? Like, Pink Floyd has some big balloons in their show.
Actually, one of my friends, I think, played Daytona Palooza.
They use a
that
green
year.
screen. I can tell you that. There is definitely a green screen.
so this last little detail about the Heaney Boys is probably going to be the least surprising thing ever. They put out a song in 2016 called "The Youth of America for Trump," and now we've arrived, everybody. Here we are. This is Falcon the Balloon Boy and his brothers.
So they're there on stage. There's a blue curtain with the American flag and the Florida flag.
Yeah. No, this is Donald Trump on stage in this video.
Oh, this is. Oh, I see.
Oh, they're about to.
This is a Trump rally.
This is a green
Okay.
screen.
She's dangerous. She's dangerous. Johnny's chicken nuts are dangerous. Cooking Hillary is dangerous.
The Chiron said demonic national convention.
Yeah. Look, I think he's saying, "Fucking Hillary is dangerous."
This is the most angry political song sung by little kids.
Alex Jones and Drudge Report Telling it like it is.
How many views does this have, by the way?
This has 48,514 views.
That gives you an idea.
Very polarizing response to.
Yeah. 776 thumbs up, 639 thumbs down.
Well, I'll wager, they wanted attention again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
that's a good way to get it.
That is a good way to get it. But yeah, so now we're up to date. That is what that's what the Eni family has been up to this whole time. Oh, and also in 2011, a composer named Billy Reese did Balloon Boy, the musical. So there is actually a full musical
with David Allen. with Richard Allen Heaney,
not associated with the Heaney family,
I see.
and it's pretty funny actually. Yeah.
Okay.
So
This is wild.
So yeah, you can imagine last night when I was doing all this research, losing my mind, drinking coffee at 2 a.m. Just
There's
being
a
like,
lot.
This is fucking crazy.
There is a lot.
But yeah, that is. Oh my god, that's the story of the balloon boy. Just and we're
Actually, I think the conclusion might be fairly simple.
Yeah.
Some jackasses want attention.
Yep.
And the problem is TV gives it to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and is that a new thing though? I guess is the question. Like, because so much of that slave.
It didn't used to be any jackass could get on TV. You used to have to have some talent.
Yeah, like
only people like Jackie Gleason and people like that could get on TV.
You know
not
what
just any
grinds my
jackass with
nerves?
balloons.
Grinds my gears.
Right. Yeah.
No, but the thing about it is people who have wanted fame and fortune predate television, predate anything. I mean, we're talking about experiences, and you can go back to P.T. Barnum. You can go back to the Roman or the Greco empires. You can go back to people who performed because they wanted to be famous. That's not. It's nothing new.
But in the good old days, like ancient Greece, when people did really stupid things just to become famous, they'd ban their name from ever being mentioned. Like that asshole who burnt down was the Temple of Artemis at Ephesus or whatever.
Yeah.
It's one of the ancient wonders of the world.
Yeah.
This asshole burnt it down just to become famous. So they passed a law that nobody could ever use his name.
See, the Greeks were pretty smart back
they
then.
were.
They did everything.
Passed a law nobody can mention
By the
Balloon
way,
Boy.
they did everything naked back then too.
Hey, it's hot in the Mediterranean.
It is.
Really is.
I can attest to that. I've been to Greece a few times.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, of course. I'm Greek.
Yeah.
Come on, my family lives there. So
Which part?
there are lots. Some islands.
It's a bunch of islands. Yeah.
The Chiotakis, the Peloponnese,
absolutely the
I come from
Peloponnese,
the famed Thousand Islands.
the Thousand Islands,
Well,
yes, with ketchup and mayo. Yeah, of course,
look,
and some relish.
straight up. I'm going to ask you this.
Yes, sir.
You in Athens, you're a Sparta guy. You Peloponnesian. You went to Athens.
No.
Are you one
My
of those
family,
guys that
my
sent to
family is from
Thebes?
Athens. They're from Athens and the port city of Athens, which is nearby.
The Piraeus?
Piraeus, yes. That's where my father was from. Yes.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. My grandfather was born on the island of Karpathos, which is right off the coast of Turkey. Then he migrated to the island of Chios. And my last name is Chiotakis. My grandfather migrated from Chios to Athens to start building neighborhoods. He was a contractor, and because he was so young as a contractor, they called him the little boy from Chios, Chiotakis. So he changed his last name to Chiotakis, and that's where my last name came from.
No kidding.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's a story I don't tell very often, but because people are like, and there are people in this country who are named Chiotakis as well.
Yeah.
And they will contact me. Oh, we might be family, and I'll be like, no, we're not family. We're not. I don't think we're family because my name is made up.
My name is a sentence. Yeah.
But
It
some
really
people
is.
have
It's true.
it. But some people do have it.
That's how it works, and I'm proud of it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I have two take homes. I would
so many.
buy a bear scratch.
Or how about this?
I agree. That was a great product.
Yeah, that's a pretty
Here's the
good
thing,
idea.
Practical.
And I wish I had those kids' hair because that kid's hair is awesome.
No, that's great hair.
we-
That's great
My
hair.
hair sucks.
We've done this once before. We got ourselves the McGraw
The McGraw, Tim McGraw.
to the Tim McGraw cologne. We reached out to the Good to Village universe. I'm gonna set up another GoFundMe and see if we
Studiverse.
can't raise. Yeah, the Studiverse. We're gonna put it out to the Studiverse. See if we can't raise $20 and get us a bear scratch, and we'll mount it on the wall here. And
You think they're still available?
we're gonna find
And
out.
we promise nobody will wipe their ass with it either, so
No,
it'll stay clean.
No, it'll be clean. But hey, as you
it's
saw in the
easy to
commercial,
clean
it's
anyway,
easy to
yeah.
clean.
In case you need to wipe your ass.
Here's the thing about journalism and about because I feel like I don't want to appear as somebody who made fun of these people. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember I did not cover them because I wasn't in Colorado. Obviously, the story was out there.
Yeah.
I was working at a business network at the time, so there wasn't a whole lot of overlap there. But I can tell you.
You mean he wasn't doing gangbusters with the bear scratch?
No, I don't know. Maybe
it didn't move the needle at Marketplace.
Maybe no, it did not move the needle at Marketplace. I can tell you that. But the one thing that you tell your listeners or your viewers or whomever they are is that you have to look at things critically.
Yeah.
And the one thing in this country that I think we're starting to lack or maybe taking pride in, discouragingly enough, is that we're lacking critical thinking. That we're not looking at things and saying, that doesn't make sense, or that doesn't jibe the way it's supposed to.
Yes.
And that's what I fear going forward. No matter what political affiliation you are or whatever, when you look at a story, you have to ask the question, why would that happen? What would the possible motive be for that to happen? And things like that. And we don't ask those questions very much.
Well, that's why I thought it was important before I laid out the whole story to kind of set up the backstory of like, these are people who are actively seeking fame. So for them to now say like, this was not a hoax, this was not us seeking fame, this was just a total misunderstanding, is a bit dubious, but I leave in the caveat that like all of this is alleged. And
well, here's the fact of the matter, because when you run out, when you have to start thinking about what it is that's going on, look at the facts, right?
Yeah,
they were convicted. They pleaded guilty. So that's the fact.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you look at that and you're like, all right, they did that for whatever reasons they did that. They did it.
Yeah.
And you start from there.
Yeah.
It's total bullshit if you ask me.
Yeah.
Because. What have kids come on out and see the balloon? Hey, where's Falcon? He's inside. That's the first thing that would happen with any real family.
Yeah.
Hey,
You're
kids, come out
applying
and see the
critical
balloon.
thinking to this, though, which is good, right? And you apply critical thinking. Now, sometimes critical thinking leads you in another direction.
Yeah.
But when you do that, then we can come to at least a common truth.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's where we are. So look at the facts and use some critical thought.
Yeah, get your mind in that situation room and do some thinking.
In the situation room.
That's what I call my brain.
Sometimes the truth comes out in the damnedest places, right? Yeah. Kids say the darndest things.
Yes, they do.
It was Art Linkletter, wasn't it?
He did. It was Art Linkletter.
I always would get him confused with the much better Wink Martindale.
Oh, Wink Martindale is amazing.
From Tic Tac Toe.
Yeah.
You remember that?
A friend of Elvis, a Memphis man.
Steve, where can people see/hear/follow you on social media and real ass media? Normally we have our guests in here and I go, hey, where can people find you on the internet? But Steve, where can people find you on the real ass airwaves?
On the airwaves, I'm at KCRW in Los Angeles, based in Santa Monica, but we cover Southern California at 89.9 FM. We also have an HD2 that provides a lot of music to our listeners as well. I'm also on KCRW.com where we stream worldwide. I'm at Radio Chio. It looks like Radicchio, like the lettuce, but it's actually Radio Chio. That's at Twitter and also on Instagram as well.
Okay.
So you're a PBS guy.
NPR.
They're related to PBS, right? So do you have any stroke at PBS?
There is absolutely nothing. The only thing that PBS and NPR have in common are that they both take money from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
Okay, so you can't I can't meet
it's
like
a public.
Caillou or
It's a
anything.
public. You can't meet whom?
The people behind Caillou or Curious George. Shows like that.
I mean, I can veer you in the right direction.
Where's the man who gave us Dinosaur Train? Bring him here.
I want to meet that dude. It's a good show, man. But I got some suggestions.
We're all brethren or sistren, if you will, in public broadcasting, so we have the similar models and things like that, but we are not at all.
So the
linked.
Cryolophosaurus. Yeah.
Of course. Come on, please.
Obviously, listen to KCRW, find Steve online, and you can find us at Facebook, facebook.com/thegoodspod. We're on Twitter @thegoodspod. Every episode ever, youtube.com/thegoodspod. Big shout out to our friend Richard Eaton up there in the Klondike doing the hard work at thegoodspod.com. Pat, what should the folks do when they get to iTunes?
I should rate, review, and subscribe. Spread the word. Shows the attitude of gratitude.
And if you don't have the attitude of gratitude, then fuck you.
And our song of the week this week, this is Chris Stalcup and the Grange, a great band from Ackworth, Georgia, home of Scott Steiner and his damn Shonies. This is the eponymous track from their 2016 record, Downhearted Fools, and we'll see you next week.
Well, I ain't like all the mother boys
side of town here with nothing left to lose. Well, I ain't writing these songs for no one else but me and you. Well, Carrie says we ain't nothing but downhearted fools on the wrong side of town here with nothing left to lose. I ain't writing these songs for no one else but me and you. For me and you. Oh, Carrie says we ain't nothing but downhearted fools on the wrong side of town here with nothing left to lose. Well, I ain't writing these songs for no one else but for me and you. Oh, for me and you. 'Cause I ain't like all the mother boys. No, I ain't like all the mother boys. I ain't like all the mother boys. No, I ain't like all the mother boys.
The Goods from the Woods was mixed, edited, and distributed by me, Rivers Langley. You can find the show on Twitter at The Goods Pod. Our theme song was composed by DJ Smiles. Check him out on Twitter at DJ Smiles.